My name is Lainey Klein King from the Mount Diablo Unified School District Garden Education Program. Welcome, everyone, to the third interview in our Wellness and STEM Career Interview Series. These interviews are meant to expose students of all ages to a wide variety of jobs that promote health, well being, and sustainability, as well as careers in science and engineering. I am pleased to introduce today Ms. Lori Caldwell, a private sustainability consultant, landscaper, and educator that works throughout the East Bay region of Northern California. Lori has an educational background in resource conservation and a long career with Stop Waste, a forerunner in sustainable planning and waste reduction. She is otherwise known as the Compost Gal, the name of her private consulting business, and will share with us her passion for the earth, the soil, and how she gets paid to take care of what she loves. Lori, what are your earliest memories of being in the garden?
Some of my earliest memories are generally involved in my grandparents' gardens. My maternal grandmother and my paternal grandfather. No, it's the other way around. My grandparents' garden, and I was usually enlisted to help, pull weeds and stuff. But I think some of my fondest memories is there was this bench that my grandmother had in her backyard. And the summertime in Pennsylvania is pretty hot. And the bench was always really cool. And she had a little arbor that went over it. And every year she would plant sugar snap peas in the garden. And so on hot days when I would spend, big chunks of time, 2 or 3 weeks at a time with her in the summertime, I would sit on that bench. It was cool. And then I would pick the sugar snap peas off and then just eat them right off the vine, just by myself, just out there in the coolness. So yeah, that's probably one of my earliest and probably my most fondest memories of being in the garden when I was a kid, or just being with my grandparents, helping them stake tomatoes or pull weeds. And
I read that you studied resource conservation and management in college. Who or what made you so passionate about sustainability?
I guess for me, it's always been, there was never really a lot of waste in our childhood. There was a lot of things that ended up getting things like reused or refashioned into something else. Also, just spending a lot of time outdoors. Spent a lot of time with my parents, camping and backpacking, and just seeing kind of how people kind of treated the land. Some people treated it nice. And some people just thought, the land was somewhere for them to put their trash, and I never really understood that. So I think sustainability kind of came from the idea of wanting to protect the land most of all. And then as I discovered a lot more about, what inputs or what comes along with that, I just got more inspired to want to try to protect things, protect the earth for our future generations. I mean, I have kids, maybe my kids will someday have kids. I'd like to, I'd like it to be, and then to be, especially as an individual, there's so many easy things that you can do to be sustainable, grow your own food or compost your food scraps or anything to reduce your carbon footprint. So I like the idea of us as an individual being responsible for it, because it all works for the whole general purpose. We're all kind of focused on the same goal, even if we're doing slightly different things. The ultimate goal, of course, to preserving our planet is a win-win as far as I'm concerned.
Lori, can you tell us a little bit about what your job is like every day as a private consultant and landscaper?
Sure. Mostly, a lot of my day-to-day involves spending time in people's gardens. One of the big components of my business is garden maintenance, or doing some landscaping projects, specifically usually lawn conversion via the sheet mulching process. So most of my days start off, going to people's houses and, taking care of what needs to be taken care of, like weeding and pruning, amending their plants with, compost or worm castings, applying mulch, making sure things stay healthy and look nice for whatever the client is. I do meetings for usually organizations that I'm usually doing educational pieces with. And then so that usually turns out, sometimes my weeks are filled with maintenance clients. Sometimes I'm doing Zoom classes for teaching, some sustainable gardening classes. I'm meeting with potential new clients for landscaping, or I'm at home doing paperwork.
Lori, what kind of projects do you get most excited about working on?
Well, I mean, other than, working in people's gardens, I love to teach. Well, teaching is pretty much how I started my kind of journey to my career, and that kind of fell in my lap. But anyway, that's my favorite. I don't mind doing it on Zoom that we're doing right now, but my favorite is those face-to-face kind of hands-on educational opportunities. Those are the projects that I just live for. I'm so looking forward to going back and being able to meet with people and, have that great interactions, and just the idea of gardening is kind of a community. We're both gardeners, and so we both belong to the same community and exchanging ideas and stuff. So yeah, so that's my favorite. I do love sheet mulching as well too, because it's really great exercise. You can get all kinds of mileage just pushing mulch back, and the idea of taking something and building something on top of it and creating something beautiful. Those are also great projects. But teaching is probably my ultimate favorite.
Lori, for those who don't know, can you tell us what sheet mulching actually is?
I can. So sheet mulching is this great process of building healthy soil, holding on to water. In many instances, when you implement things like compost, you're actually doing something that's called carbon farming. And basically it's a layering of a cardboard weed blocker. I like to use cardboard boxes for that. Some compost for building healthy soil and water retention. And then mulch, like a coarse mulch, like wood chips, go on top of that. Again, for water retention, to keep water as it is a good reservoir. And so if you have sandy soil like we do here in Martinez, it's going to clump those sandy particles together, so your soil will end up holding onto water and holding onto nutrients a lot longer. But if you have clay soil, it's going to really open up clay soil to allow it to increase the drainage and also increase the kind of nutrition that plants will definitely need. So yeah, it's great.
Okay, your motto is connecting people to the soil and all that it provides. I have to explain to kids all the time the difference between dirt and soil. Can you tell us the difference between dirt and soil, Lori?
Absolutely. So the big difference between dirt and soil is generally dirt is something that you're going to want to sweep up, usually sometimes inside your house. It's usually inanimate objects and fluff. There's really no substance to it. And it's usually something you're going to end up putting in the trash. But soil is a living, breathing thing. So underneath our feet, while it might be sandy soil and not my favorite soil, but there is a whole other ecology that's going on underneath here. So there's roots and there's fungus and bacteria and all sorts of invertebrates, and they're all kind of working in concert together to kind of break down the organic material on the top of the soil to bring it further down into the soil, as well as take things like carbon out of the atmosphere, putting it in the soil, and makes food for our invertebrates and our bacteria and fungus. And so it's a living, breathing thing and should be treated accordingly, treated nicely, to build, to not pollute, and to take care of. Because when you take care of the soil, it gives us back love with, fruit and flowers, and the ability to drain, the ability to filter toxic substances out of our soil, as well as the ability to kidnap or capture lots and lots of carbon from our atmosphere. And when we're talking about global climate change, the biggest thing that we can do is add organic material to our soil. That's going to be the huge key. Our soil is going to be a huge sink for that. So treat it well. So it's the complete opposite of what actually dirt is.
What advice would you give young people who want to get into the field of resource conservation or sustainable gardening?
I'd say go ahead and do it, especially if it's something that you're really into. It's a passion. And find whatever your niche is. Maybe your niche isn't maybe education. Maybe your niche is into creating compost, or doing things with biofuels, or landscaping, and just kind of find out what it is. Try other things. I find myself, and even at the age of 50, wanting to try new things and learn new skills. And sometimes that puts you on a totally different trajectory. I would have never expected to start maintaining people's gardens. I mean, I maintain my own, but it went from education to helping landscapers with sheet mulching projects, which eventually made me do my own sheet mulching projects for hire, and which turned into garden maintenance for those sheet mulch projects. And then, so always try to maintain some sort of skill set and, you know, learn as much as you possibly can. I rely mostly on books than I do the internet. I'm still an old school kind of library kind of gal. And then just really kind of go for it, especially if that's something that you're really passionate. I really love and enjoy what I do. I can't believe I get paid to do what I do, because it really doesn't feel like work at all. Even when it's, you know, 80 degrees outside and I'm shoveling copious amounts of mulch and, you know, trudging it along, I'm still totally happy and still really proud that I made the decision to kind of really follow what my passion was. And it pays well, which is nice. So that would make it easier for your parents to understand. And there's a lot of really great things that come with it, you know, being able to spend time in the soil, spend time in the sun, you get exercise, you're constantly exercising. I actually had a conversation with my chiropractor the other day, and she said that my shoulder muscles are perfect. And unlike people who work at desks, who are going to end up eventually being hunched over, she says I'm not going to have any issues with that. So I was super proud and pleased with that. So yeah, so I think if it's something that you really want to do, please do. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me. I'm sure we'll be able to send back my contact information. I think it's really important for the next generation to do this work. And I think something like a Green Jobs Initiative is going to be great for those who are coming up, because these are the things that we need, especially here in California. We're a drought state, so we really need to focus on ways of conserving whatever water that we do have, the water that we do get through our winter rain. So I say go for it.
Thank you, Lori.